Heike with Heike's Furniture Art. Welcome to this series of a sideboard makeover. The sideboard behind me. There will be several parts coming up, and I would like to invite you to join me on the journey of me creating this piece from A to Z. Learn more about me and maybe also about my approach and my techniques. I got this sideboard from my daughter's partner granddad, and it was in the basement, and you know how it is when things are in the basement. They get very, very dirty, and in those days they used to put those sticky papers everywhere in the drawers and on top of the pieces of furniture just to protect them. And I cleaned it, I took it off, and I repaired, or my hubby helped me with repairing whatever was to repair. So there were a few things. And I didn't film that part because that would have been a very boring part, me cleaning away. There are many other videos that you can watch for that. I had an immediate vision about this sideboard, and my vision was creating on the sliding doors. These are sliding doors, they come together like this. I want to create an abstract media art canvassy thing on those sliding doors. Not sure yet if my whole vision is going to be there. Usually I'm an intuitive painter. I start something, and then depending on either what the piece tells me or what I think, I change things around, and I go ahead with this. And this is something, you know, that you can watch me doing. I am preparing a sideboard, and the sideboard that I have has got two doors. So these are the doors. I prepared them with slick stick, because it was a very slick stick from Dixie Belle, because it was a very slick surface. So I prepared it before, and I already know what I would like to do with these doors. And I have done a sample board and tried it out and worked on the sample board. This is the sample board I did. So it's going to be black at the top. There's going to be yellows and oranges and reds, a bit of blue turquoise, maybe a bit of brown going on. There will be textures. I would like this to be a canvas again. I like my pieces looking like canvas. And this one specifically, this is something, I put some wording here as well. This is something haven't tried yet as such on a piece of furniture. I've done a few, but not really exactly like this. So I am a bit out of my comfort zone. I would like to try that, and this is why it was important for me to try and create, maybe you can see it here, and create a sample board before I work on the piece itself, meaning the sideboards. If you're doing something like this, just put down where the top is and which door it is, because that will help you afterwards to apply and create your canvas or whatever you use. There is a long handle. I have to keep that in mind as well when I put on my textures and my paints and whatever I think would look nice on it. So I have to keep in mind that all this piece here where the holes are will be a long handle. It's the original handle. I'm not going to change it because I quite like it, and it will go quite well, I think, with the sample that I did with the colors that I want to create. I'm starting off with the burlap from Dixie Belle. And this paint is, oops, I had it open and it's very thick already. So I am going to apply as is with this art spatula on here. I have to be very careful not to create a texture that is too thick, as the two doors will be sliding against each other, or you know, on top of each other. So I really have to be aware that of the thickness of my texture that I'm creating. So this really thickened paint, you just leave your paint open a bit. You can apply this as such. Look how thick this is. There's no need to use texture additive for me here at the moment. So taking my paint, and I am just applying this to my piece. I will apply more texture on here in kind of the middle, because I know that the top will be going into the space, into the gliding space. So I have to be very careful not to thicken it up there, otherwise it will not fit into the space. These spatulas are very, very easy to apply your texture. You can create designs in it. You can flatten it out. Just hold it slight, don't hold it down flat, because otherwise it will stick. Just do this. Oh, quite like this. Might just go over it and have some design in here. You see, happy accidents. So I'm just going to leave it just a tiny bit, and I'm going to go over it. Yeah, I'm going to wait a bit. That's cool, because it's already giving me a nice design here. Might add some more. As I said, I'm going to have the handle here, so I do not want texture where the handle is. So I don't have a problem putting it back on. I mean, I can do texture. It's just, it doesn't have to be raised. Oh, little thing here. Down here, same thing. I know there will be the store is going to go into the space, into the gliding space. So I'm avoiding the last ½ centimeter with texture. I'm going to paint it, but I'm not going to use the thick texture. Just wanting to show you the texture that it creates. No need to have fancy tools. And I love creating this texture because my paint and my waxes and my glazes, or whatever I'm going to use, are going to catch in this design that I'm creating. In those nooks and crannies, you can do as little or as much as you want. I'm giving it just a little dry with the heat gun because I want to create some more texture with my tool here. Just make sure it's not completely dry because you will not be able to use the tool. Get yourself some baby wipes and then just have fun. Just create whatever you want. I want kind of circles, half circles here. Don't know if you can see it. Something like this. I might do another one. Just like this. Make sure you wipe your tool. I would like to have some like a trellis. In every design I'm going to do, there will be the paint and the waxes that will catch in there. I can also go into my circle. Okay, there's too much trellis going on, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to go over it lightly just to hide it a bit. Okay, I'll have another one down here. Okay. And maybe something up here. Just half or a quarter of a circle. And I think we're good. If this is too much for me, I'll just check. Maybe I can go over with my spatula. I don't want to destroy it, but I can make it slightly more diffused. Okay. This is the first door, and now I'm going to do the second one.
This is the structure that I have at the moment on this piece. So you can see some, streaks. There is some trellis. There is some half circles. And obviously, wherever I use the spatula, it has this kind of rough, I always say texture, but it is texture, always this rough texture. Now, I usually use sea spray, a texture additive from Dixibel, to create my structure. But as I said, it's a sideboard. The doors have to glide to each other here. They have to glide like this, so I can't make it very thick. I have to make sure that there is enough space for the doors to glide behind each other. And this is why I just used paint, thickened paint, which is enough for me, I think. The paint will catch in all these nooks and crannies and these designs that I did here. Not as much as in usual texture additive or modeling paste, but it will be enough for what I'm looking for. I'm going to do a wash over my now dry pieces. I've mixed a black with some grey, so it gives me a dark grey. I'm going to use this flat brush, and it really is a color wash. I'm going to go over it. It's about maybe 40 paint, and the rest is water, because I don't want to cover this, misting it with my mister bottle, and I'm going to take it off by dabbing, because I just want a bit of the dark color, if it shows through, to show through. Just take a kitchen towel and dab it off. You really don't need a lot of paint as you're mixing it with the color, with the water. I would like this to come through at one point, but I'm not sure it really is going to show. So we will see when I lay the colors. I'm going to do the same thing with the other door now. Here's my other door. I'm now using cashmere from Dixibel, and I am going to use, I think I'm going to use this large brush, and I'm just going to apply this color just for the moment randomly, not too much. I'm going to wet my spatulas afterwards. Just want to create different layers. And you can already see that the design that I had created is still there, even though I did not use any specific medium to
to create it. Just paint. Okay, I'm going to take some more and I will start applying another layer with the spatula that I have here. And you can see it's a bit of a different design that was created with the spatula. Up. I still have some color from my previous project on it. Doesn't matter, it's going to be covered anyway. As these are sliding doors, I have to be careful not to put a lot of high points up here. So I'm going to be working the paint into a flat finish. And for the rest, it's fine if there is some high points. I'm going to continue doing this. And then I will add more colors once this is dried. I dried the piece and I am now going to continue layering. For that I'm going to use this flat brush. I've got several, and I poured on a plate, I poured some cashmere from Dixie Belle and some rebel yellow. And I've got a bit on my spatula that I'm going to use later as well. I'm just going to use it on here, so it's not going to be wasted. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to dip my brush on the plate in the paint, and I'm just going to apply and create some shading. This time I'm going to kind of cover the door. Sometimes use a bit more of the white, sometimes a bit more of the yellow. Rebel yellow is a very, very soft yellow. I don't want the finished piece to be too soft. I will be adding more. And I will also be adding darker colors. So you can still see there is still some of the dark, very dark grey that I used in the beginning, and I quite like that. It just creates a bit more of depth,
And I am also going to use, not sure if the roller is something that is needed. I just try out things and see if that works for me or not. I don't think there's a big difference, at least not with the colors I'm using here in at the moment. So I don't think the roller really is needed. Okay. Going to let this dry again, and I will continue adding more layers. Now that this is dry, I'm going to apply more layers, and I'm going to use this color, which is kernel mustard, and I mixed it with some pine cone, so it becomes quite of a dark yellow, and I'm going to start applying this to my two boards. Again, I put the color on my paper plate, and I'm going to use this spatula now. Try that one. And I'm just adding more layers. I do want to leave the light color underneath as well, so I'm not going to cover everything, for the moment at least. And I'm also going to spritz and dab some of it off. A kitchen towel. You can dab off more or less. It's just a very personal thing. If I get the impression that I have too much, that it's getting too dark, I will just add a bit more of the lighter yellows. That's not a problem. I can even try this now. See, adding just a tiny bit even gives kind of another layer and gives more depth. might most probably get some more light colour up down here. It's still wet, I don't mind this time that the colors mix together. It was a bit too yellowish, although as I said, you can just go over this and create, and if you don't like it, you use more of the colors that you like. You get to choose how much of the color you want to peek through, or how much of the darker colors you want to peek through. You just work with what you have and just enjoy it. I like the different layers here, where you get kind of the white, it's not a white, I'm using the Rebel Yellow again, just like I did before. I didn't use the cashmere, the white one. I could apply a bit of the white and see what happens. I have an idea where I'm going. I did a sample board to try it out, so this helps me to see that I'm on the right track, even though it is going to be different for sure. Going to try my roller again. Going to add more paint. And I'm going to roll the paint. And again, working with my spatula. Maybe, hopefully you can see that the spatulas kind of give you really nice designs. It's not the same as with the paintbrush. And this is what I'm aiming for, because the piece I have is a sideboard, and it has, two sliding doors on one side, and on the other side it has, I think it's four drawers, and I want the sliding doors to be the focus point and be like a mixed media canvas art. Modern, use a bit of the yellow here. Modern, and yet my very usual style of weathered or grungy, but with the modern vibe. Okay, I'm going to start on the other door, and once everything is dry, I will be back. I decided to apply a bit of the white color that I had before to lighten everything up. And that gives a nice touch. I like that. This is what it looks like. And you can see with the different spatulas that I use, you get totally different designs. I'm going to put a bit more, and then I'm going to spritz a little bit. And dab. I decided to use some high flow acrylics, which I think, just tried it out, give a really nice texture on my already nice texture that I have here. And I'm just applying in random places to give it some, to warm it up and give some contrast. I imagine I could use some orange for sure, but I wanted to use these. There's too much here, so I'm going to take it off. And I did not wait until it was dry, so I have to let it dry first.